Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. The top three cryptos by market cap, and probably the most bullish assets we've ever seen. Over the last year, in 2025, we've seen a bearish year, probably the first one since like 2021 or 2022, I'm not sure. People have lost hope in Bitcoin and crypto as a whole because of this bearish year that we've seen. And I'm here to clarify things. Now, I need you to understand that nothing that I'm saying is a guarantee, nothing is financial advice, but it's simply probabilistic calculations. It's something that I take a good guess at. Bitcoin will see 250,000 within the next 4 years, before 2030. If you look at its historical performance, and you look at the technical analysis and the market sentiment, you know, there's no reason for it not to hit 250,000. And on top of that, you know, within the next year or two, by the end of 2027, we probably would have seen it drop to 60,000 or 70,000 again, within that range. And that is probably the best opportunity you're ever going to have to buy Bitcoin again. You know, if you buy at 60,000 and we see 240,000, that's a 4 times return over the next 4 years. You're not going to see another opportunity like that for a very, very long while, And with Ethereum and Solana, they are just as bullish. You might see within the same time span 5 to 10x returns, and it's highly probable. The thing is, people lose hope in Bitcoin because you don't see the same returns that you did 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you buy Bitcoin, you hold for 3 or 4 years and you get 1,000, 10,000% return. That's not going to happen anymore. That's not realistic. But if you look at the S&P 500, they don't lose the hope in the S&P 500 because the S&P 500 is the most bullish asset in history. But as of recent years, Bitcoin has been. It's bullish, even though the S&P 500 has bearish years. People still don't lose hope in it because they know it's a bullish asset. They know that if you hold just for 10 years or 5 years even, you will see a return. You will see a good return. Same with Bitcoin. Now they see Bitcoin lose 1 year, and they lose hope in it entirely. And also because you're not going to get 1,000, 10,000% returns, now they suddenly think there's no point in buying Bitcoin anymore. There is. If you buy now at 90,000, and Bitcoin sees 130, 180,000 within the next year and a half, you got 100% return. The S&P 500 doesn't give returns like that in that short amount of time. Bitcoin is still really bullish. Yes, you're not going to get 100x return, but it's still an extremely bullish asset. It's still really good opportunity. When you look at Ethereum and Solana as well, extremely good opportunity. And if you go even lower, you go to lower like XRP and whatever, you go to lower caps. The smaller you get, the higher returns you're obviously going to get, but the higher risk as well. But there's still a huge opportunity, and you can't look at something like Bitcoin and see 1 year worth of losses and think that it's bearish. The problem is that people, they look at, they make predictions on what will happen in Bitcoin based on the 4 hour or the 1 hour time frame. And then they want to talk about what's going to happen in the next 3 years or 4 years. You can't use the 1 hour or the 4 hour time frame for that. You have to zoom out. And if you zoom out to the monthly, the daily chart, Bitcoin is bullish. Bitcoin is extremely bullish still. All you have to do is look, zoom out and really look at the time frames, the higher time frames. Same with Ethereum and Solana. Yes, it doesn't look good right now, but what about a year from now? Even if you don't believe in it anymore, if you lost hope in it, why not still take a small amount, put it in there, and see what happens? Because 4 years from now, you're going to be one of two people. You're either going to be the guy that thanks himself for buying Bitcoin at 60,000 or buying Solana at 120, $100 or buying Ethereum at 2.5K, 3K. You're either going to be the guy that thanks himself for that, or you're going to be the guy that regrets it. And then when Bitcoin drops again, you're going to say, haha, I told you guys. But if you bought now, that haha would still be a 3x from where we are now. So would you rather keep repeating this cycle or just buy and find out what happens? Because at the end of the day, whether it's the S&P 500, Bitcoin, we're all taking a little bit of a gamble, a little bit of a risk. We don't know really what will happen. I'm sitting here, I'm giving you my guesses. My best guess, my best intuition from what I've gathered from the years of experience that I have in trading and investing. This is what I believe will happen. It's not, it's not law, it's not Bible, it's not a guarantee, it's not financial advice. It's simply just a guy that's been investing in Bitcoin for a while, giving you his opinion. Same with anyone else. But I do firmly believe that if you say Bitcoin is over, then you haven't done proper research and you don't really look. All you have to do is look. And if you genuinely just buy a small amount, over the next few years, you're going to see what happens. You're going to see what happens and you're probably going to thank yourself, more than likely. If you buy at 60K and we see 240K before 2030, that's a 4 times return. Ethereum, you'll probably see by that time a 5x return. Solana, probably a 10x return, 15x. So yes, you'll still have high returns. And if you go to the lower caps, like I just said, if you go to the smaller cap cryptos, you don't have to go to the meme coins. Just go to mid caps. It's one level below Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Just go to the mid caps. Those caps still have potential. They're still in the 100 millions or the tens of billions. They still have potential to go to a trillion. Because the thing is, look at stocks. How many stocks are at a trillion market cap and above? Or 100 billion and above. It's quite a few. But how many cryptos are at that level? Not a lot. Most of them are not yet at that level. So there's still huge potential. Even if we don't see 3 trillion market cap or 10 trillion market cap, there's still huge potential for a lot of these cryptos to hit 150 billion market cap, hit a 500 billion market cap, and even beyond that. All you have to do is look at the mid caps, because the mid caps are the cryptos that have already surpassed the potential of meme coins. Because meme coins, let's be honest, meme coins, there are, go play slots. I'm not a fan of meme coins, but mid caps and large caps, that's where the money is made. Mid caps are already at the level where, it's trustworthy. There's a very, very small chance that it's gonna rug pull, that it's suddenly gonna lose everything. And it has upside potential still, not just 4x returns like Bitcoin in, 4 years, but 10x, 20, 30x, because those mid caps might still be at 50 billion. They might still be at 20 billion in market cap. They have potential to go to, let's say, 400 billion and make a 20x return. And there's a lot of them. There is a lot of them. All you have to do is look at the mid caps. The mid caps, that's where the money is made. So the argument of these traders or investors is that Bitcoin won't see large returns anymore, so it's over. Okay, if that's your logic, why not look at the mid caps? Why not look at the cryptos that still have huge upside potential? Bitcoin has upside potential, but not 10x, not 20x. The mid caps have upside potential up to 20, 30x. So why not look at them? They want to make an argument based on an asset that's bullish, but it's not going to see 1,000x return. Sure, that's fine. That makes sense. But look at the mid caps. Look at where the money is really made. You could still make a lot of money with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Again, not financial advice, just simply my opinion. It can still create huge upside potential for you and your portfolio. All you have to do is look at the higher time frames. Go to the Bitcoin chart right now. Right now. Go to TradingView, Google, whatever. Look up the Bitcoin chart. Go to the monthly time frame. Look at how Bitcoin's chart looks on the monthly time frame. You want to tell me that chart, I'm staring at it right now. You want to tell me that chart does not look bullish? You want to tell me that chart looks bearish? Looks like it's over? You're mad. If you really believe that, it's over for you. And the thing is, if Bitcoin looks like this, and it has such huge upside potential, again, what about the mid caps? How much potential do they have? They have huge potential. Not all of them. Some of them will fail eventually. But most of them, if they are close to being a large cap like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, they have huge potential and they will more than likely not fail. And, with the world moving into a more crypto friendly world, how many of these cryptos don't you think it's going to take over? Grow. It's the same with stocks. Yes, it's not exactly the same. There's no company behind it. But Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, those three aren't the only three that's going to exist forever. A lot of these mid caps are going to eventually start to see hundreds of billions in market cap because people are going to start investing in them because we're early. We think about it now. Me and you, we're the investors. We're the early investors. We see the potential that crypto has. We see the potential that mid caps have. That the crypto that has a 80 billion market cap. We see 15 years from now that crypto with 80 billion market cap might see a trillion. It might see a trillion. So if we see that potential now, how long do you think it's going to take for the average person to see that potential as well? If the actual investors and the actual traders like me and you are seeing the potential of mid caps right now, how long is it going to take for the average person? Because remember, it's a trickle down effect. The first people are going to be the people in the trenches, the people that do this shit on the daily. They're going to see all these smaller caps and mid caps and large caps. To the people in the trenches, a mid cap is like a blue chip stock. That's gold. That's something they're not scared of putting their money in that at all. No fear, because they're busy with smaller caps and meme coins. Things like rug pull and minutes. So for them, a mid cap coin is a blue chip stock. If you look at me and you, I'm just a forex trader. I invest in crypto. I don't day trade crypto. I invest in it long term. Every single decision I make in crypto is a long term decision. So if I'm only now starting to realize, listen, the mid caps have huge upside potential. I realized this a while ago, a couple of weeks, couple of months ago. I started thinking about, what about the mid caps? For the last few years, I've only thought about large caps like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. But the last couple of weeks and months, I've been thinking about the mid caps. Now I'm relaying it to you. You're going to start thinking of the mid caps now. Eventually, I'm going to start thinking smaller caps as well. And I'm going to start making long-term investments into smaller and mid caps. Mid caps I've already, but smaller caps. Maybe not meme coins, but smaller caps. By that time, it's already starting to be going to the public. The average person, not even traders and investors, just the average person is going to start talking about mid-cap coins. They're not going to invest in it yet, but they're going to start talking about it. Did you hear about this $80 billion market cap crypto that went to $500 billion in market cap? That's crazy. The average person doesn't talk about that because all they talk about is Bitcoin. Eventually, they're going to start talking about these cryptos. And what's going to happen is they're gonna be doctored. Their mind is gonna be like, yo, that's like huge returns. And they're gonna start getting invested in it. Sooner or later, 10, 15 years from now, everyone is going to be busy with mid caps and large caps and small caps. And by that time, if you now got invested into mid caps, small caps, large caps, by that time you're going to be one of the legends in the game. It's simple as that. So if we're only now, the people that are not day traders in crypto, if the crypto investors are starting to think, you know, about the small caps and the mid caps, it's only a matter of time till the average person thinks about it as well. And those mid caps and large caps and small caps, see 10, 20x returns, and it becomes more of a normalized thing. It will become like the new fiat currency because of its applications in transactions. You can send instant transactions, so people will use it more. And, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. So if you get in early now, yes, you're not going to have a guaranteed return. That's so obvious, and that's always the argument is, but mama, shut up. You know, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you're not willing to take the risk, don't take it. If you want to be a baby about it, be a baby. If you don't want to make money, go enjoy yourself. Go have a job. Enjoy yourself. But if you want to take a risk, take a risk. Yes, it might not play out 100% guaranteed, but you have potential. That's all we want is potential. And if there's potential, there's money to be made.